ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Antoine Renault.
Hi everyone, glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I think the last time we connected was in Austin, Texas, in March of this year, the South by Southwest. And I heard about that festival for the first time there, so I'm really glad to be here today with you guys. My first time here in the festival. I'm going to start with a few words about me and then a few words about Bose before we get to Bose AR. So, here's my business card if you find me on LinkedIn. So I'm in charge of global strategy for the marketing at Bose. And by the way, I'm also hiring, so if you know good marketing strategists in Boston, please send them to me. Basically, I've been doing mostly marketing all my life, so I'm a brand builder. I like to grow brands through communication and innovation. I also like change a lot, both in my life and in my work, so I'm French, by the way, as you can guess. But I've been also living and working in New York, in Barcelona, in Amsterdam. Actually, I've been here for 5 years now and still happy with that. I've been growing global brands like Evian, like Danone, like Kellogg's, Dulux. And that's my life as a professional. I've been asked to tell something more about my personal life as well. So actually, if you Google my name, you're not going to find my LinkedIn before a couple of pages because I happen to have a second life as an artist. I'm a painter. I became a painter totally by accident, so I'm a self-taught painter. And I'm showing this because I realized, actually, learning to draw, I realized that there was some similarities with strategy, actually. So when you learn to draw, what you learn to do is you just learn to see. You learn to be able to draw what you see instead of drawing what you think. So it's all about connecting the dots and recognizing patterns. I'm sure there are quite a number of visual artists in the room, not only strategists. So it's quite similar to what we do in strategy. It's all about observing the situation, observing the dots, seeing what's happening, and then finding the patterns. So I'm sure those of you who are either visual artists or strategists recognize that. Just wanted to share that simple fact about me. So, yeah, being both an artist and a passionate brand builder, if on top of that I can operate in a business which is actually busy with improving stuff I enjoy all the day, like music, I got a dream job. And that's what happened to me when Bose called me. So, a few words about Bose. I don't know for you guys, but when I was called by Bose, actually I realized, I knew the brand, I knew the product, of course, obviously, but I had no idea what the company behind the name was. I don't know if you guys, do you guys know where Bose is from? I thought it was German, actually, because they do awesome products, great design, product that lasts. So Bose is actually American. We're based in Boston, Massachusetts. And the company was founded in the early 60s by a guy called Dr. Bose. And the reason he founded the company is very simple. He didn't care about making money. He didn't care about business. He only cared about inventing stuff. So he created that company because he needed to have a business to enjoy researching and inventing stuff. And that's remained the purpose of the company in such a way that if today you buy a Bose product, where does your money go? Well, it mostly goes into research. That's a totally private company. And all the profit we make goes into research, some in marketing, thanks God, but mostly in research and in invention. In case we make a little bit more profit than this, where would the profit go? Where would the dividend go? They would go actually to, they would go to the MIT. Why to the MIT? Because actually the MIT owns Bose. And that's a surprising fact, I guess. It happened because the founder, before he died, actually, in order to protect the purpose of this company, just gave it to the MIT. So today we're in a situation where the MIT actually receive dividends from Bose. They have no say on our strategy and the way we run the business. And we have no influence on the way they use the dividends in the funding of research program. Quite unique, right? So if you're interested into knowing more about this story, there's a great documentary you can find on the web called Dream and Rich. that has been shot by the famous director Morgan Neville, and it's a quite fascinating story. So this is Bose, and as you know, Bose has been good at inventing pretty awesome products, not only the first Bluetooth speakers, but also the first noise-canceling technology and this famous QC35 headphones. More recently, and that's actually how we met in South by Southwest, we introduced 2 years ago frames as a prototype, and we launched it for real this spring. Those are audio sunglasses. I will explain a bit more later on. We just released before summer something that's probably going to become our new flagship product, which is the new Bose noise-canceling headphone 700. I will explain a bit more. All of those are nice products, but as was said in the introduction, those are hardware. It's getting tougher and tougher to compete in hardware. And that's where we got into something which is really a new breed of innovation for us, which is Bose AR. So I'm going to explain, I'm going to try to explain what Bose AR is. I'm not going to tell actually anything about my marketing strategy. We have some, of course. But I'm totally convinced that's going to evolve a lot, actually. And that's going to evolve a lot because the way we're going to develop this Bose platform is actually going to be nurtured and influenced by all the content that's going to come from the developers and the partners who are playing with us. So I'm more going to be trying to explain what it is, how it works, and try to make that as clear as possible. And so that you guys hopefully can be inspired, and I'm sure many brains in that room will bring more ideas to the party. I'm going to start explaining what it's not. Because when we talk about AR, augmented reality, everyone thinks about visual, right? So it is not visual. Bose AR is not visual. Bose AR is not a VR headset strapped on your face. It's not smart glasses that help you detect objects. It's not mobile-based visual augmented reality. It's none of this. And I have to say, I mean, it's obvious that visual is a great sense. It's not a surprise, and we have some examples here in this festival. Sorry. No surprise that most of the AR innovation are coming in the visual field, right? And that's fair because that's our first sense, right? And lots of good stuff are going to happen, of course, so that's going to turn the world into a gigantic screen. But we have 5 senses, and actually here comes in a close second. And for those of you who've been playing with sound, you probably know that here has this interesting fact that it's very immersive. It's a great sense for immersion. And it's also a very great sense when it comes to intimate connection. Someone told me one day an interesting question. Suppose you just have 1 hour to live, and in 1 hour you're going to die. So you just have 1 hour to call your loved one. But you have to choose between only sound or only video. What do you pick? I'll pick sound for sure. So that's an interesting way to think about how much you can get immersed and connected through sound. But back to real world. To make it simple, the idea we had behind this, the creation of this platform, when it comes to user benefits, it's really about, disconnecting us from the screens, actually. Because we love our smartphone, we need them, but we don't like that much being glued to those screens. So the whole idea behind Bose AR is actually to help people be more connected with the world around them and not glued to their smartphone. So, what is Bose AR? And that's actually my only marketing slide, if I could say that's this one. So the way we like to talk about it when we think about connecting this with a consumer benefit, that's hands up, heads up, hands free. So Bose AR is an audio-only based augmented reality platform. So what it's doing, it's overlaying your world with audio content. I need to explain now for those of you who would be, like me, not expert in this kind of platform. I'm just a marketer, right? So I learned a ton about SDKs, softwares recently. If you want to understand a little bit better how this whole platform works, you need to go through the complete recipe. So what do you need to have a Bose AR experience? First, you need to have Bose AR-enabled devices. Then you need to have apps which have been AR enhanced. If you have those two, you can send input to the app through gestures. So we have a gesture library. I'll come back to that later. And through those inputs, you can access situation-based, location-based, or gesture-based, sometimes audio content. So this is what Bose AR is in a nutshell. And some additional clarification. So if you want to have, you have an AR-enabled device if you have Bose AR sensors in it. And if you want to have an AR-enhanced app, you need to play with a Bose AR SDK. So this is kind of the whole story. Not inspiring yet, but that's how it works. All right, so let's start with the sensors. So the Bose sensors are actually connected through a Bluetooth connection to the app. And we have 3 of them, which actually, through that Bluetooth connection, send information to the app that helps to do things. And those are my only slides with animation. So we have first an accelerometer, so that's basically measuring acceleration from any point in any direction. We have gyroscope. So gyroscope tells you what's your head's position and the head motion. And you have a magnetometer, and this one is a very important one because obviously that's the one telling you the direction of your head compared to the magnetic north. So basically that tells the app where you're looking at. And the combination of those 3 sensors, so that's what we call the sensor bundle, is really what's providing the core information. So when we have that, we have a Bose AR-enabled device. How do we send inputs through gestures? There we have a library with some existing gestures, and you can also access, as a developer, you can also access raw data and train your own gestures. The basic gestures we start with are input. So you can have tap or double tap on the side of a frame or a headphone. We have affirmative or negative, or a head nod or a head shake, and we call it this way, but actually you can make them mean whatever you want. It can also be scrolling through a program, picking a track in a carousel, etc. Some apps already use it for that. And then if you can access the raw data as a developer, then you can create all kind of gesture. So some example of that, and we see from fun to very useful stuff happening there. So you have gestures, for instance, like some have been developing gestures like jumping jack. So you can measure how high you jump, how many jumps you do if you do that properly. You can have gestures about very sub-gesture, like small move of the head. You can have gestures like ducking or like dodging bullets. All those kind of gestures can perfectly be customized. So now that we have the gestures to input in the app, let's look at the products. So what kind of products can you play with today? There are 3 products already in the market which you can use to enjoy Bose AR experiences. The first one I mentioned is Frame, so I need to explain a little bit more this product, so I'm not sure all of you know it already. So that was launched this last spring. Frame is actually a product I personally like a lot. Those are audio sunglasses. So think about basic sunglasses. There's no screen in there. That's normal sunglasses, except that they do anything a premium headphone would do. So you're actually wearing sunglasses, but you're listening to music. No one can notice because it's not visible, and not one can hear because no one will hear the sound you get in your ear, because we are using a directable open-ear technology, which sends the sound like a beam directly in your ear. So it's extremely, it's quite unique as an experience. To be honest, since I joined Bose a year and a half ago, I will never forget the moment where I tried this product for the first time. That's really a wowing experience. So you can do anything you do with a headphone. You can also receive call. Just have to do that. You answer the call. There's voice functionality in there. We also tried with that product, we started to have gesture-based functionalities. So for instance, when you take them upside down, you turn the product off. Yeah, really cool product. So this is the first one we used to introduce Bose AR. That was at South by Southwest actually 2 years ago with 3D printed prototype, and this year with real product just before the global launch. It's available globally now, and it's selling like hotcakes. So that's a really nice innovation for us. What we did at the same time, without telling people, we started to ship actually thousands, actually hundreds of thousands of Q35 with the sensors in it before announcing Bose AR. So I guess some of you know that product. That's a flagship product for us. It's pretty popular in the planes. It's very popular in the open spaces, here in Amsterdam on the bikes as well. So what we did is, since November of last year, we started to ship those products with the sensors in it. So if any of you actually booked a Q35 since last Christmas, good news, you have already Bose AR in it. Which helped us to be in a position where we announced Bose AR at South by Southwest in March this year. We just flipped this functionality on and announced the people they had a Bose AR product. And the last one you can use Bose AR with is this new product, so the new Bose Headphone 700. And that's quite interesting product, which is actually, it's really the top, the crème de la crème when it comes to noise cancelling. It has 10 levels of noise cancellation. You also have a level of total awareness, so you can actually hear the whole noise around you. For instance, when you want to listen to an announcement in an airport. But more interestingly, it has a functionality which is world-class voice pickup functionality with an array of 4 microphones. It captures your voice in such a reliable way and cancel the noise around you that I could be calling my boss here from the stage. You guys could be singing, and she could believe I'm in the office. I could tell her I'm here or not. So that's really a cool product. We launched this one in June this year, and that's probably becoming going to become our new flagship product. The interesting things with those 3 products is that we made a promise a year ago to the developers community that we would have over 1 million devices available on the market by the end of 2019, this year. And yeah, I'm happy to say that we're going to be hitting and actually exceeding that promise. Which is something super important for us, as you can imagine, because if you're a developer and you want to work hard to develop an amazing experience, you want this to be enjoyed by plenty of people. And the beauty here is that people don't buy an AR headset. They buy a product because of the great sound quality and premium design. They happen to have an additional benefit, which is an AR benefit. So let's talk about content now, because it's great to have all those devices already. We hit that promise of having millions of them in the market. Now we have another promise to make to the customers, which is to bring experiences that are also enjoyable on an everyday basis with devices that you wear on an everyday basis. So I have to start with the platform, because to develop great experiences, developers need platforms and tools. We support actually 3 platforms, and we basically chose the platform which are most frictionless for the users. So basically the 3 platforms that we all have in our pockets. The SDK runs on iOS native, on Android native, and on Unity. I didn't know that. Many of you guys probably know that, but I was interested to hear that Unity, actually, which started in gaming, is actually becoming probably the most popular XR engine. I think that's between 60 and 80% of all the AR and VR experiences which are developed using Unity. So those are the platforms, and with the platform, you can access the SDK. You want to find out about the SDK, that's super simple. You just go to developer.bose.com/bose-AR, and there you can find the SDK. Just sign up. The SDK is free. Our model is not to monetize the SDK. It's an open model. We want as many inventive developers to come with ideas and great experience for the users. So let's talk about example now of experiences. I'm going to share a couple of examples. Most of them are already available in the app stores. Some of them are demos, and plenty of new experiences will come up on an ongoing basis. I have actually basically 4 categories of experiences. We have gaming, we have travel, we have some in sport, and we have some in music. In gaming, I'll start with 3 examples. So the first one is a silly and funny one. Overheard. So overheard is probably, well, could become famous in any country in the world except in France. Why so? Because Overheard, the game is about launching bovine at an arrogant Frenchman sitting at the top of a wall. Actually, you think you're in the Middle Age at night attacking a castle, and you're attacking this castle with a catapult, and you drive a catapult with your glasses. So you scan the space, adjust the head, shoot, and you throw a code to an arrogant Frenchman. So that's really a funny proof of concept. It's a nice way to start understanding how you can do all those kind of things. Comrade is a more sophisticated one, I would say. So Comrade is an experience where you actually you open the app and you get in touch with someone who asks you to do all kind of secret agent type of things through a whole story that's going to evolve in an interactive way according to how you accept or not and dunk or not, etc. Dead Drop is another type of experiences. So Dead Drop is it's actually a dual player game. So one of the players is actually sending bullets to the other one, and the other one has to listen to where the bullets are coming from and then dodge the bullets. So those are the first example I can share on gaming. There are plenty others you'll find on the site. On travel, so that's a very interesting area for us, and we have conversation with plenty of partners on travel. That's also a low-hanging fruit for us in the area of guided tours. Autocast is a good example of that, and when we actually launched AR for real this year in South by Southwest, they had a fantastic demo where you actually walk in the street, and then so you just open the app, you keep your app in the pocket, and then you hear a ping on the right, so then you turn, and then you can see, for instance, an old town jazz bar. So and it prompts a question to see if you're interested to know more about it. If you are not, then you'll hear about who's playing, what band is playing tonight. You want to hear actually a track of their last album? Yeah, well, you hear the track. And then you keep on moving. So this is a very interesting example of very simple additional layer of sound content in the context of real world. Naviguide is a very useful one. So Naviguide is actually pulling data from Yelp. Very simple as well. Suppose you're in the evening with friends, walking and looking for a place for dinner. You have your app open and the phone in the pocket, and then you hear a ping on the right. You wonder if that's a good restaurant. Well, you get direct lead information about, all right, 5 stars, 200 or 3,000 reviews. Fine, let's go in that. So those are examples of experiences that just help you keep your phone in your pocket and get easy access to rich content. Sport. So sport, there I got two apps which are on the store, and one which is a demo, the New Balance. Golf shots, I don't know if there are golfers in the room. Yes, good. So golf shot is a very interesting one, pretty famous, popular golf app, which has been enhanced with Bose AR, bringing additional functionalities, which, by the way, are pretty useful for golfers, because there are many places where you're not allowed to actually play golf with your phone out of the pocket. Here, on top of providing tons of information about how to deal with the golf course, you have an amazing functionality that helps you locate very precisely where the green is, even if it's hidden behind a hill or behind a wood, because you have functionality that goes like teet, 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 so you know that's exactly there, and you can shoot. So when you're a golfer, this kind of functionality makes you start thinking like, might be good to have a Bose AR device on your head. New Balance is the one, actually, those are the ones who developed those customized gestures, so all the jumping jacks, they also have customized gestures to measure the squats, the push-ups. Peer Sports is a more advanced sport coaching, so Peer Sport was founded for Lance Armstrong quite a while ago, and has been then developed into a popular app. They improved it with Bose AR in it, and what it does, it's actually based on what you are doing in your training. Well, they coach you and tell you if you're going too hard or too slow. It's a really awesome app. And last but not least, so we have music, which is, as you can imagine, really close to our heart at Bose. And I'm going to share two examples of music apps. So the first one is Radar. So Radar, that's a pretty simple one you'll find on the App Store. In Radar, you have lots of 360 sound experiences. So very simple ones like, it's not only music, by the way. You have one, for instance, where you are on the beach in front of the ocean, and you can listen to the waves, and then if you turn, you actually you listen to the seagulls. You feel the sound around you in a spatial way. You also have music experiences where you can actually listen to a band playing, and according to in what direction you turn your head, then you will be hearing the drums very clearly, or hearing the strings, or another instrument this way. So it's quite awesome. I like this one a lot. Traverse is much more impressive. So Traverse is actually combining the audio AR with the mobile AR. Traverse works on a room scale. It's an experience in which you can, well, it's an app where you have a couple of experiences where you physically move through the sound. So they made a couple of experiences, and one of them is called Elvis. I think it's been awarded already a couple of prizes in the US. I tried that in Austin. So you physically move in a room, and Elvis is playing with the band. So you can move around Elvis and listen to him singing, and then you move, and then you go to the strings, and then you hear the strings. You can go around the drums. So it's a really super rich immersive experience. So those are the first examples in gaming, travel, sports, music, which hopefully help you imagine what's possible. And I'm sure there's going to be tons of new surprises. We receive actually inspiration from developers around the globe every month now. If you want to know more about that, so as I said, so just go to developer.bose.com/bose-AR. If you want to be inspired, because sometimes it also helps to or your clients to be inspired, we have also on the site part of the site which is called /getinspired. Take your time, make pictures. And there's some other ways to enjoy actually and get inspired, which is just meeting with our people. So we have a really cool team of developer relations. Those guys participate in many events. So on the site, you'll also find a way to keep up with all the events we organize. And by the way, good news for those of you. I know that's a very global audience, but for those of you who are here in Europe, we're going to have 2 events coming in the coming weeks, actually, where part of this team will be happy to meet you guys. So if there are some developers in the room, or if you have developers in your teams who would be interested to know more, send them to Copenhagen between September 23rd and 26th, or send them to London between 26 and 29 at the Sundance Festival. They will be there as well. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will bring a lot of inspiration to the Bose platform as well. Thank you.